Well, hello everybody. We're here for another live broadcast. My name's Walt Frazier, and I'm here to talk about more government failure. I've rambled a lot about Donald Trump. Tonight I'm going to do another live broadcast regarding the vice presidential debate. For those who are still awake before and after, if you're not, it's going to be a snooze fest. But I'm kind of curious as a political junkie. However, do me a favor, I think I might have put too much light on me. It's actually kind of bright. I just got back from Hoboken. I had to do this extra little thing because just got back from Hoboken, New Jersey, took the light rail from Hoboken to North Bergen where I live, had a little business to take care of downtown, right? Very minor stuff. To get to the light rail right now, you have to walk about a half a mile all the way around. The track where my light rail train goes is the far southernmost track in Hoboken. It's really like the most southernmost part of Hoboken. Basically, when you leave this train, if you go to the right, if you go south, like 2 feet, you're into Jersey City. Hey, everybody. And the Hoboken train is on the most southernmost part of Hoboken, right on the water. So when you get there, because this train crash that happened last week, you have to walk all the way around the entire station. It's a pretty big station. You're walking right next to the ferries, and it looks like, I don't want to say war zone, but, you know, massive construction zone at the very minimum, right? And it felt like a half a mile. I'm not a very fit guy. It was a lot of work to get all around. And that entire walk all the way around to get to my train, I got to study what's left of the Hoboken crash. From what I can tell, the train that crashed is still there. The entire New Jersey Transit section of trains going to New York and other places in Jersey seems to be completely shut down. You can get to the PATH train. There's some steps right there when you get to it at like the train drop-off area where the cabs drop you off. And if you get the light rail, you're going to walk all the way around. And as I walked around, I just started to watch inspectors and construction folks, but mostly inspectors and the NTSB folks types that were kind of looking up into the rafters and saying, oh, clearly that was wired wrong. And like you kind of heard them talking about stuff that they only discovered was wrong because of this crash. The only reason they were there was because of the crash, and because of the crash, they're there inspecting to see, like, we got to take this train away without bringing the whole structure down. You can tell there's all kinds of integrity issues with the structure, right? Like, this thing could come tumbling down if they pull the train out the wrong way. At least that's the impression I was getting just by listening to these inspector types and construction folks that are all over the place. But you heard them saying things like, oh, that looks like it was wired wrong to begin with. Like, there's all these kinds of shortcuts that might have happened, yada, 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 yada. Then I started to remember all that stuff about the thing called PTC, Positive Train Control. Years ago, 2011, there was a crash in Hoboken where 35 people got hurt. I don't think anybody died in that one, but similar kind of situation. Train comes barreling into the tracks, and it was way too fast, right? And as a result, the track, you know, whatever happened to that train, 35 people got hurt because the train came in way too fast. This train was going 45, it should have been going 15. So there were things that happened in this place before. With the Amtrak crash from a few years ago, it was said by the NTSB, by 2015, every train in America must have positive train control. And then bureaucracy sets in and says, oh, you can't get it done by then. You got to give us more time. So they back up the deadline to 2018. Deadline being the really appropriate name because somebody died last week as a result of not having positive train control, right? Yeah. Jersey deserves to get sued. They said, oh, if we hold all the trains to this, there will be no more trains in America. There's no way they can get it done in time. The technology exists. Now, I did read an article. Now, probably the problem is, one of the big problems is all 50 states kind of have their own train system. Jersey's extra complicated because Jersey is the gateway drug to New York City, right? You have to get through Jersey to get to New York for most people. A few people have to come through Connecticut, but we don't count them. They're annoying. So, because they're coming from Boston, right? Bo Sox fans we don't care about. Sorry, just kidding. No, but people have to go through Jersey. So Amtrak trains that come through Jersey kind of have their own thing, and I'm assuming they will run on similar tracks because all the time they have problems at Penn Station in New York City, and there are problems with the Amtrak. They take over the NJ Transit, the New Jersey Transit people. Passengers have to wait forever. I was there one time on Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I had a train ticket, and I went cheap. I was going to go to Trenton and then take a train from Trenton to Philly and save all this money, right? It's about half or less than half the price, and it's literally about 30 minutes difference at the most. I've caught the train sometimes. It was almost the exact same amount of time to get downtown Philly by taking New Jersey Transit to Trenton, where you can also pick up the SEPTA train to Philadelphia, right? So Jersey has trains coming and going from all over the place, and every train kind of has its own thing, right? You guys play Monopoly, right? We used to have the 4 railroads. There might be more, but we know about B&O and Reading, and was it Short Line? What's the 4th one? Lackawanna is not one of them because that's the Hoboken station named after. But we used to have all these trains, and each train, I think they had their own set of tracks because they had different kinds of trains. They had different kind of wheels. When the New York City metro system, subway system, redid all their trains, different trains now have different kinds of tracks. They're slowly turning over to this more modern track. But you can't just put any old train on any old track because they're not always the same width. They have different ways of propulsion, right? They have different size wheels. They have different, all kinds of different things that go on. Now what happens is, and this is a little boring right now, but here's the point. Bureaucracy, government bullshit is the reason somebody died last week. Jersey, if they really wanted to, could have fixed the problem. Right? The people that don't want to raise taxes on the gas, we have the cheapest gas in the world where they pump it for you, I think. Or we're up there. Certainly I'm surrounded by people. Everywhere else I go, if I go to New York or Connecticut, I'm paying anywhere from 50 cents to $1 more per gallon. If I go to Maryland, Pennsylvania, Delaware, it's a little bit more, but you have to get on your car and pump it. Like here, everybody complains, you're not allowed to pump your own gas? It's like, dude, yeah, I get to sit in my car and say, here's some cash, here's my card, thank you, and go. It's a lot quicker, actually. It's a lot better. It's raining. Yeah, here's cash, pump my gas for me. Here's an extra buck or two for doing it, because I'm a nice guy. Yeah, I don't like pumping gas. And then you pump your own gas, and your hands stink. The part of that problem is a lot of bureaucracy in Jersey does exist to create jobs, right? It's a good problem, maybe, but it creates a lot of crap. I mean, there are people working places that really are underqualified, are not really trained to do what they're doing. And I'm not just talking about the gases. Think about the whole Tesla thing, right? Tesla wanted to sell their cars directly through malls, but no, Jersey said, no, we have this system where you have to go through a dealership. You have to go through a dealership because those dealers want money. And they hide behind, we need to create jobs for dealers and salespeople, right? But it's because the dealers want their dollar. They want their cut of the action. So I'm pretty convinced in Jersey, the water, the electric, the gas, all utilities are completely run by the mafia, which isn't actually true because the mafia doesn't exist. So, but if you ever met the guys that come around looking for money when you're a week or two late with your water bill, pretty sure it's, they're in the family. Or they're working for them, right? So, not for me to judge, but I'm ready to make the statement that it is all on Chris Christie that this woman died last week, that these 100 people were hurt, and that all these people are just, millions of people, well, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that go through Hoboken every week to get to New York City or to get their jobs in Hoboken are inconvenienced. And the amount of money being spent just studying the problem so they could even remove the train and move on with life, right? They decided not to spend the money yet. They might be in research trying to figure out the problem, but they didn't fix the problem yet. They've missed the 2015 deadline. They have till 2018 now. But by not spending money, they caused the life of a woman, injured 100 people, destroyed a train, destroyed a station. It's on you. It's on all of the bureaucrats that said, let's wait, right? Similar problem, but this is like, you can't, it's not just here. Let's talk about Flint, right? We got Flint, Michigan, King Dick, Richard Snyder, Governor Richard Snyder, I call him King Dick, right? Go on Twitter and just tear this guy a new hole. He deserves it. He puts his own people in charge of Flint, Michigan, because, let's say, so Flint, Michigan, Detroit, I think it came from a good place. They wanted to get certain things under control, right? There was just all kinds of things out of control. But one of the things they did was they took Flint off of the public water system, like the plant where they were getting their water, which I think was Detroit, right? And they decided to bring the water in from a river, which destroyed all the pipes, which created all the lead to be leached from the pipes into the water. And now we have kids with learning disabilities that might have very, very limited life expectancies, all kinds of problems where we're not going to really find out how bad the problem is, possibly for decades. It's now 2 years later, right? More than 2 years later. 2014 is when this started. Within months, they realized there was a problem. The experts from the universities have been there for months. Yada, yada, yada. We have this problem in Flint, Michigan, because of one dick governor and the idiots that he put in charge. Instead of, I don't know how they did this. The legislation, I know how they did it. The legislation in Michigan basically made Governor Richard Snyder King Dick. They anointed him King Dick by giving him this executive power over local municipalities so that his executive, whatever they called him, had power over the mayor, the elected mayor from the people that Flint, Michigan elected. The city council that Flint, Michigan elected is now pushed aside by this King Dick executive committee guy, right? I mean, basically, King Dick sent his knight in to take control of the city of Flint, right? So the people in Flint are helpless and hopeless to fix this problem because they're at the mercy of King Dick, right? Just like Chris Christie has fucked up Jersey and the New Jersey transit system and all that, you know, doesn't want to raise taxes on gas by 20 cents. I mean, I don't necessarily want to spend $1 or $2 more a week on gas. I know $2 more a week on gas is a lot. But, you know, right now gas is $2 a gallon. I'm paying $1.84 down the end of the corner. I could pay $2.05. That's still less than the $4 gas I was paying to do gigs. You know, when I go to do gigs now, it costs me half the amount to get there, right? Which is great because I never raised my prices. Because when I tried to raise my prices because the travel costs went up 8 years ago, everyone said, "No, I can't afford it because we're not making any money. You got to swallow the cost because you're like the peon." So I swallowed the cost. I paid extra money. I made less money. I swallowed all the gas costs. So the gas is now less than $2 a gallon here. I will pay 10 to 20 cents more a gallon if it means fixing the roads, fixing things like the railroad. You know what I mean? Like, I think the problem is we don't want to pay taxes. Everyone thinks, hey, Donald Trump's our hero. He doesn't pay taxes, right? He's not smart. He's smart. He's a genius. He's our hero. That's what Chris Christie said. Chris Christie's, yeah, Donald Trump's a genius for not paying his taxes. Yeah, okay, he got away without paying taxes. But you know what? When we don't pay taxes, especially when billionaires don't pay their taxes, we don't have the money to fix the New Jersey transit system. We don't have the money. Michigan has the money to fix the problem in Flint. They just don't want to spend it. They got $2 billion. They have this surplus. You know, they cut taxes and have this surplus. You know why they have a surplus? Because they haven't spent money on the water system in Flint. And now people are going to die. And people are without water. And how much money has been spent on bottles of water? I mean, maybe it's been donated, but somebody's paying for it, right? The National Guard is being used to fix the water problem. Not the real problem, to you know, the Band-Aid of delivering bottles of water. I would love to shower with a bottle of water. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Just lather up and then, you know, just rinse off with a little Dasani, you know what I mean? Good use of spring water. And then we can, compound the problem. We'll have that Texas-sized plastic island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right? That will grow because how many people are using bottles of water now to like shower with? And, maybe they're using the big gallons, but still, there's a lot of plastic going around. How much bad water are people drinking? It's not a third world country, except where people like King Dick are running the show, right? People are complaining, oh, it's a third world country. It's not a third world country. It's a third world country in some places where people like King Dick are running the country. The roads in Jersey are better than most places, but they're starting to go, right? There are problems with roads in Jersey, and if it takes 10 cents, 20 cents a gallon of gas to fix them, sounds like a safe thing, because how many lives are going to be saved by having a few less potholes, by having roads that when wet are not slick, whatever, roads that don't lead to accidents because people are swerving to miss a pothole hitting somebody else, right? How many people die every year because a few dollars are saved? How many people died last Thursday? One person died. They thought we had 3, but that's the media's problem. Well, I already talked about the stupid media and speculation. And then finally, and there's so many other examples out there, but here's the problem we have in D.C. right now. We have this budget deficit, right? Trillions of dollars that, at some point, I forget the exact figures, but, at some point, very near future, half of the entire budget will be Social Security and the interest payments on debt, right? Forget about paying off the debt. So we got to stop running out of debt. You know what will help us stop running out of debt? Raise taxes. If we cut all the programs that people want to cut to save money, how many people are going to be on the street? How many people are going to die? How much money are we going to end up spending later to fix that problem? Because that will also lead to crime, right? All of a sudden, you take people's food stamps away, they can't eat. You take away housing, they can't live. You take away all these things that this so-called, what do you call it there? The money, the wasted money, I'm just brain farting on turn. I'm so Gary Johnson this week. But we take away the programs that keep people off the street, now, yeah, there's still drugs, there's still crime, there's still all kinds of things. But these programs keep those numbers down more than anything else. Lower taxes do not create jobs. It's failed. I'm sorry, trickle-down economics has not worked for anybody. Lower taxes does not create jobs. Smarter taxes might create jobs. Taxes that don't penalize. People can't afford to be poor. What does not create jobs? Obscene bank fees. It was one thing back in the day when somebody had to go through every single check and find the bounced checks, right? When every check is bounced, when every little thing that goes through. But it's all done by computers now. So if somebody goes a little over or under their balance, instead of charging them a little bit of interest as like a loan or something like that, let's say they're $50 below their balance. And then we charge them $35 penalty for every incident going below. So now they're $85 and they put a $70 check in, right? But that only brought them up to $15 zero because your 35 brought them, and then they put another thing in, and all these things kind of went in at a time. And then of course you get the TD Bank thing where they withhold your deposits longer so that they can collect their fees, right? There's like a $6 billion, whatever it was, I forget the exact number, huge lawsuit that was settled by TD Bank because of the fees. They had all these extraneous fees because you would make a deposit on Tuesday, and then you think that that's supposed to clear Wednesday morning. So Wednesday you write a check, or Wednesday you may use your credit card or something, and then they came in at the same time, and they would purposefully withhold the deposit a few extra hours so that your withdrawal or your credit goes in and brings you below zero, and then, we got to charge you $35, right? So they charge you $35, they put the deposit in, and anything that came in, and it's like $35 per instance. So let's say you wrote 3 checks for $100, but you deposited $1,000. and that 1,000 puts you at $1,200, right? But you're at $200. So let's say you're at $75. It puts you at $1,075. So if you wrote three $100 checks before that $1,000 clears, you're now paying them $105 in fines for those three $100 checks. And now instead of having $775 in your account, you have $685, right? Or $680. And, you know, no, that's not right. $660. Sorry, my math is, I'm tired. $670. That's not the point. Point is, you just gave TD Bank a little present of $105, right? $105. Now that adds up, and for some people that doesn't matter that much, right? It says, oh crap. And at times for me it didn't matter, and I looked the other way. And then all of a sudden I realized, holy crap, I wasn't paying attention, and I was keeping a book. I would do my checkbook, right? I balanced my book. I wouldn't write a check unless I did the math, and I said, okay, I'm going to write this check. I'm going to pay somebody, even like for payroll. I paid somebody, did all this stuff, and I made a deposit. The money should be in there. Here's the check. They ran to the bank. That check should have cleared to the next day, but the TD processed that immediately, right? And blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, TD actually took $5,000 in bank fees. We got part of the settlement. Now, because the lawyers take their cut, we made $8. So out of $5,000 in bank fees, I got $8 back. So the system is rigged. And I'll go back to my point all week long. Donald Trump is the rigger. He's the person that takes advantage of the system. Yeah, he may know how to fix it, but he doesn't want to fix it because he didn't pay. How much money would Donald Trump pay in taxes if the system was fixed years ago? Right? And then it becomes an issue. Here's the thing. Let's say you made $1 million this year. And Joe over here made $1 million this year, but he had to pay $600,000 in taxes. So he had $400,000 by the time he paid for his kids' college, and by the time he paid for his kids and for his house and his cars and food and a couple vacations, he has about $50,000 left in the bank that he can actually save out of the $1 million that he made that year. And I'm being very generous, right? So let's say Donald Trump over here made that exact same $1 million, didn't pay any taxes. Maybe put $10,000 into local, state, federal taxes. He probably didn't pay those either, because usually if you get out of paying federal, I've had places where I've actually owed federal a few $100s after the end of the year, because I do a lot of freelance work. I have a lot of W-9s, 1099s, and I owed the federal government like $600, and then New York State, when I lived in New York, paid me $600 because the medical bills I paid or whatever worked out differently. They actually gave me $600 back. And I don't know, I'm not an accountant, I don't know how that works, but let's say Donald Trump did pay something, right? But basically, let's say instead of $600,000 on that same million, he paid $100,000, so he had $900,000. Let's say everything else being equal, he had that extra $500,000 in the bank at the end of the year because he didn't pay any taxes. And then over 20 years, that's $10 million. But that's not $10 million. Instead of $50,000, he has $500,000 accruing interest, investing, buying and selling, right? Doing what real estate people do. And all of a sudden, that $500,000 a year turns into $1 billion. But that's how you become a billionaire, the way Donald Trump became a billionaire. You scam the system. You don't pay a few people. Figure out all the times he took the money out, didn't pay the people that were supposed to get paid because he hid behind bankruptcy law. Now again, it's possible he did everything legally. It's possible he did everything legally. But in the process of doing everything legally, he got really fucking filthy rich. He got really rich. Built a lot of buildings that are vacant or in bankruptcy, right? Yeah, we could just build. Anybody could build. But he did it because he didn't pay taxes. He cheated the system. And again, we got to change laws. But you really think Donald Trump, with this Congress, is going to do anything to rein that kind of activity in? This lower taxes Congress, they're not going to raise taxes on these people. They're not going to change the tax code. I'm sorry. Because the so-called conservatives, they're not fiscal conservatives. They really aren't. They're religious nutjob conservatives. And I'm not anything to say about your religious beliefs or anything like that, but the way they try to legislate from the extreme, like intolerant religious right position. I'm sorry. If you were fiscally conservative, we wouldn't be in the place where we are now. Because there have been times where you had a Republican president. You lowered the taxes. You really didn't cut that many programs. You lowered the taxes for the very rich. You may have made the very, very poor pay a few less taxes. But the people in the middle are paying taxes, while the very, very rich get richer and richer because they're not paying taxes. They're not hiring. They're getting richer and richer. Don't tell me trickle-down economics, because the people that are getting richer and richer and richer that are not hiring, that are not paying, I hate the word fair wage, because, like, what is a fair wage, right? That's such a hard thing to talk about. But because we're not having this debate of ideas, we are having one situation after another where the bureaucracy is left in charge, so that we have people dying in Hoboken. People are going to die in Flint. People are going to die all over the place because of the bureaucracy being left, because the government that's in charge of the bureaucracy is so broken. And I just do not believe for a second that Donald Trump is the one to fix it. And even if he is the one to fix it, Donald Trump, with this Congress, is going to make it far worse. Hey guys, that's enough for me. Vice presidential debate tonight. Check it out. I'm going to go live, I think 8 o'clock. I think it's a 9 o'clock debate. 8 o'clock, I'm going to go live. I'm going to go live again after the debate, assuming I'm still awake, and because this is going to be fun. But again, like I said last night, I really hope that this will be a legitimate debate of ideas, of theories. We can really have, because a really great debate would say, I believe this, and then let's debate, and then let's say, you know what, that's not a bad idea. You know what, I really believe this, but we can incorporate some of that, because this or this are not right. They're not perfect. Trust me. This and this are coming from idealistic places. They're not coming from places of, wow, I'm an economic advisor. No, these are two politicians trying to get votes. But if they sat down together, that like if Tim Kaine and Mike Pence were forced to fix a problem, they might actually have a real discussion. And we need a debate that looks like that, so that we can really come back to center and fix problems. Join me in the center. The centrist, loud and proud, from the middle. What's angry in the middle? Screaming in the middle. Yay! That's what I think I'm going to call these podcasts. Angry in the middle. Forget the silent majority. We are angry in the middle. We're so god freaking tired of hearing idiots and arrogant assholes scream from the left and right. We're screaming from the middle, and we're demanding that somebody pull their head out of their ass and start fixing the problems. Because it ain't going to be Donald Trump.